name in itself sends shivers down your spine. I, for one, don't even like regular worms, let alone a worm purported to be 10 feet in length with a ravenous lust for flesh. The Mongolian Death Worm is a creature alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert. Investigations into the legendary creature have been pursued by zoologists, cryptozoologists, and academics alike. Despite, or perhaps because of the creature's fearsome name, and they don't call it the Mongolian happiness worm after all, many intrepid explorers have set out into the Gobi Desert seeking the creature. Numerous organized expeditions and searches have been made over the years by both independent researchers and in conjunction with television shows. But was there any evidence found to support its existence? And is it a cryptid or just a mythological creature of lore? Let's try and find out. Hello, I'm Mike Droberg, Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History. Tales of the creature first came into Western attention as a result of Roy Chapman Andrews' 1926 book, On the Trail of Ancient Man. The American paleontologist described tales of the monster that he heard at a gathering of Mongolian officials. Andrews cites Mongolian Prime Minister Dam Din Bazar, who in 1922 described the worm. It is shaped like a sausage, about 2 feet long, has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous that to merely touch it means instant death. It lives in the most desolate parts of the Gobi Desert. Later, in 1932, Andrews published this information again in the book, The New Conquest of Central Asia, adding, "It is reported to live in the most arid, sandy region of western Gobi." Andrews, however, himself did not believe in the creature's existence. The animal is also the basis of a short story, Olgi Kohorkai, in 1944 by Russian paleontologist and science fiction writer Ivan Yefremov. Yefremov was studying fossils in the Gobi Desert and wrote that he had heard of the legend of the Mongolian death worms many times, but nobody claimed to have seen it. Later, in the 1987 book Altjan Tazdak Kovid, Ivan Macquarie cites a Mongolian legend which describes the creature as traveling underground, creating waves of sand on the surface, which allows it to be detected. It is said it can kill at a distance, either by spraying venom at its prey or by means of electric discharge. It primarily lives and burrows on the ground, only rarely coming to the surface. According to British biologist Kyle Shuker, in his book The Unexplained, an illustrated guide to the world's paranormal mysteries, one of the world's most sensational creatures may be concealed amid the sands of the southern Gobi Desert. It is said to resemble a large fat worm, up to 3 feet long and dark red in color, with spike-like projections at both ends. It spends much of its time hidden beneath the desert sands, but whenever one is spotted lying on the surface, it is scrupulously avoided by the locals. According to legend, the dreaded Mongolian death worm, which the local people call Olgoi Kohorkai, or loosely translated, large intestine worm, has lived up to its name. It can kill in several fearsome ways, including spitting a stream of corrosive venom that is lethal to anything it hits, and if that doesn't do the trick, it is said to be able to electrocute its victims from a distance. In 1990 and 1992, Ivan Macquarie led a small group of companions into the Gobi Desert to search for the worm. Inspired by Frank Herbert's novel Dune, in which giant fictional sandworms could be brought up to the surface by rhythmic thumping, Macquarie constructed a motor-driven thumper and even used small explosives to try and find it. Unfortunately, both expeditions came back empty-handed. Then, in 2005, zoological journalist Richard Freeman of the Center for Fortean Zoology mounted an expedition to hunt for the death worm, but came up empty-handed as well. Freeman's conclusion was that the tales of the worm's powers had to be apocryphal and reported sightings likely involved an unknown species of worm lizard. Support of this theory and viewing the worm from a zoological perspective may help us sort out fact from fiction in the legend of the Mongolian Death Worm. The creature, if it exists in the inhospitable Gobi Desert, could not be a soft, fleshy worm. Instead, it is likely a type of snake or legless lizard. This also means it would be a vertebrate animal with a spine that would presumably be found by searchers. The consensus among researchers such as Schucker and author Richard Freeman is that the Mongolian death worm likely does not exist, and that the belief is instead based upon sightings of either a type of limbless reptile known as a worm lizard, which resembles a large worm, burrows underground, and can reach several feet in length, or a type of sand boa snake. Of course, not all characteristics of a worm lizard or sand boa are a perfect match for the death worm. For example, terrestrial snakes can't deliver a lethal electrical shock the way electric eels do, for example. Also, there are several venomous snakes, primarily cobras and vipers, that can spit poison, which, although not acidic, can certainly harm and cause blindness. Yet these reputed characteristics are based not on hard data, but myths and stories, as some accounts of the death worm even claim that its venomous spittle can corrode metal instantly. With allowances made for the exaggeration found in rumor, legend, and folklore, the worm lizard or sand snake seem likely candidates. It is of course possible that the Mongolian death worm really does exist, but there would have to be tens or hundreds of thousands of them to sustain what biologists call a breeding population. Perhaps next week, next month, or next year, such a bizarre creature will be found and examined by scientists. The fact is that about 18,000 new species are discovered every year. Also, researchers have observed that diversity of land animals increases as they get smaller, giving them more reason to continue to search for more uncatalogued new species. This year alone has seen some pretty remarkable new discoveries already. However, for now, Mongolian death worm remains in the cryptid category and is generally less prevalent than other cryptids, such as Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. But it is often referenced in material that comments on, takes inspiration from, or celebrates cryptozoology as a whole. So what are your thoughts on the Mongolian death worm? Is it real or just a mythical creature? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching Forgotten History. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments or show ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.